Okay, we have Vaibhav Agarwal of Angel Broking joining in to talk about the numbers as well. Vaibhav, you've had a big, long time to pore over the numbers. What is your sense in terms of State Bank of India, especially in the fact that it's lead consortium lender and multiple SDR accounts? How much of the AQR is factored in and how much pain do you think is left?
Well, clearly the PNB numbers had made things easier for SBI expectations. And, there was a lot of concern that some ugly number can come over here as well. I think the kind of number they've reported is sort of in line with what our revised expectations were post PNB numbers. And I think clearly with a coverage of 65%, it does stand out compared to PSU banks and is, pretty close to ICICI as well on gross NPA numbers. So, in that sense, I think clearly SBI does stand out compared to the rest of the PSU banks.
Okay. In terms of valuations, how would you, do you expect it to possibly continue trading at 0.8 times or FY16, FY17 or maybe inch up a little more now?
So I think, more than the absolute level of valuations, the triggers would matter, in terms of by fourth quarter, likely a lot of pain would be absorbed by the PSU system. It would be out at least. And then, the amount of capital that the government gives. And with that, can FY17 result in fresh lending, on sort of slightly lower interest rates? I think that would really create the foundation for an up move. Probably we are 3 months away from getting more clarity with all the, sort of bad accounts coming ahead. And, from there, maybe, one can relook whether there is a story building up of, fresh lending going ahead.
Okay. Vaibhav, if SBI went ahead with its QIP today, would be lapped up, isn't it? Should they wait for a higher price to do a QIP?
Yeah, that is an interesting question. But yeah, I think at this point, it would probably be difficult to come out with a lot of supply and, get better valuations. But yeah, at least compared to the rest of the PSU pack, they're in the best position to raise money with minimum dilution and then, hence lend it forward into the economy as well.
Okay. Yes, fair point. Actually, it's not a bad capital adequacy number at all. It is 12.5% for a big bank like that. Well capitalized, you will have to say. But whether that is enough in terms of growth capital will be the question, since risk-weighted assets will eat up a little bit of the capital as well. Then that's the story. It's a no-growth story. It wasn't expected to be. Profits, the company has still managed to post profits. The pain of provisioning will increase in future quarters as this massive 16,000 crore is at best provided for to the extent of 20% this year. In the next 3 years, it will have to be provided 100%. So that much more of provisioning will be called for. So there is pressure on profit for some time now. What kind of an EPS growth or book value growth? Just book value, not book value in terms of the market price. Would you estimate for State Bank, Vaibhav?
I think the key point over there is ultimately what dilution is required, because obviously the absolute amount of NPAs are still quite high, as you mentioned, and plus there are the SDRs, etc., which ultimately would need provision as well. So of course, in the near term, the profit growth is looking challenging. The book value is obviously under stress, and it does need more capital. Even on this capital adequacy, I think there would be need for more capital, and on that base, really a new story can form. Before that dilution, it's really, a lot of provisioning that is still yet to be done, of course.
Yeah. Actually, banking sources, bankers told me that even in all SDR cases, a provisioning of 2.5% has been set aside. Reserve Bank has asked for at least 5% provisioning over 2 quarters. So whatever the SDR amount you get, you must assume that 2.5% of that is also being provided by all the banks. We will also have to look at the pipeline. I wouldn't assume that there would be much of an SDR pipeline. Bankers are extremely wary of taking control over companies, 51%, and not knowing how to run a plastic company from a steel company to a road company. So SDR is not the preferred route at this point in time. So pipeline may not be very big, but there will be something that would have already been done in this quarter. So all that will have to be taken into account in terms of future provisioning requirement.
And I don't think they must have sold as much to asset reconstruction companies this quarter. You can't sell so much in order to reduce your gross NPA by how much ever it has and managed it. But overall, I think it's a good set of numbers as of now. Based just on the P&L, we have to wait by for more details. But I just want to pull up Bank of Baroda because that stock is spiked up, and that's the only one which is now left to really release its numbers from the Nifty space, from the banking space. So that stock is coming out with numbers on Saturday and is up around 2.8% in anticipation that maybe things won't be as bad.
Actually, that question to you, as Surabhi was pointing out, as SBI numbers were announced, SBI share moved into the green, more deeper into the green. Bank of Baroda went into the green, and ICICI went further into the red. Is there a likely trade over there that incremental ICICI investors are moving into these two public sector banks?
I would not go so far as to really recommend a switch from ICICI to SBI, but like I pointed out, if you actually are looking at gross NPA numbers, they are very close to each other. In fact, coverage in SBI is better than ICICI, and of course the corporate book of ICICI is also under stress. So yeah, in terms of the numbers on asset quality, SBI does sort of compare quite favorably, not too bad versus ICICI. But I think for still the fact that the private sector bank, in terms of the capital adequacy and longer term growth, I would not recommend an outright switch. But yeah, within the PSU pack, it's SBI which stands out, because of its much better numbers.
Okay, let's just see if we can bring in Jagdish Malkani into the conversation as well. Jagdish, if you can hear me, I just want to get your sense on, your take on SBI from a market perspective. This market is dealing with a double whammy of very bad global cues and some tough bank numbers that we've seen. Which is a more important cue right now for the market, and then your sense on what we've seen from SBI right now?
No, clearly the global carnage is the uppermost thing for the market, and the ongoing carnage. Yes, SBI numbers, obviously one needs to look in detail, but not pretty. But a lot of this is in the bludgeoning these prices have already got, and B, the fact is that the RBI and Dr. Rajan are rightly cracking the whip and not allowing any fudges. I still think SBI, I have not seen the numbers properly, but SBI would have got some in the past. They clearly had a special son-in-law, maybe that's the wrong way to put the treatment, but a lot of that is ending. But there's tremendous value in, at least in these, without taking names, the top PSU banks. I think they are trading at 0.6, heading towards 0.5 book, etc. Prospectively, and these banks are not going to disappear. They're still sitting with 70% of the banking assets, and if the India story is alive and well, they have to be very much part of it.
Okay,
and it's unfortunate what's happened, and it's not just political interference, etc.
Jagdish, just hold that thought, because now we have the Bank of India numbers which are flashing, and it's a loss of around 1,500 crores. So if you thought things were getting better for PSU banks, no, it's not. Net loss 1,510 crores is what they've recorded this time, and that's the Bank of India numbers that we're talking about. Net NPA gross NPA spiked all the way to 9.18 versus 7.55% this quarter. So there's around a 200 basis points, 150 basis points odd rise which has taken place in terms of the gross NPAs on a ratio basis. This was doing the rounds in terms.
Ekta, we should look at the exact amount of GNPAs that have increased, and it is not much. It's actually a good number. 29,000 crores or 30,000 crores really has become 36,000 crores. So actually that works out to what, 16% increase, right? Or is it 20%?
Yeah, I haven't gone to the gross
30,000 has become 36,000 crores. That's all. So it's actually a 20% increase or 19% increase in bad loans. I wouldn't consider that a very bad slip. Remember, Bank of India was, when Mr. Rego inherited it, he was already inheriting a bank that was extremely weak. It has been weak for probably the last 6-7 years. Ever since 2009 or 10, it has been belaboring under these problems. So while 9% is a very big number, I think the incremental slippages has been actually less than 20%. So I would think that this is a very troubled balance sheet.
Just a quick point. Again, there's been a tax write-back which has taken place this quarter. The PBT loss is actually 2,194 crores for Bank of India, and then there's a tax write-back of 689.4 crores, and hence you arrive at a loss which is lesser at 1,505 crores. So if it wasn't for that tax write-back, your loss would have been greater.
No,
remember,
you must remember it is trading at 0.3 or 0.2 book.
Yeah.
I mean, at 0.2 book, if they are telling you that incrementally our story is not looking so sorry, that it is increasing, yes, by about 19% gross NPAs. And again, I think as per the, the additional, provisions they have to make, I think they also are saying that they will do it over 2 quarters. During the quarter, as per the AQR, the bank has been directed to reclassify, make additional provisions in respect of advances over 2 quarters. The bank is agreeing to implement, has accordingly implemented the RBI direction. So you must expect perhaps another 19% of slippages in the next quarter as well.
But Laura, I just
that is why it is 0.2% of the book.
But I just want to understand that one point on AQR, as the bank, just like State Bank of India, is saying that they are going to do this over the next 2 quarters. Provisioning, at least this time around, hasn't really risen much compared to the previous quarter. So provisions for Bank of India stand at around 3,600 crores versus 3,237 crores Q on Q. It's of course a huge jump year on year. They've doubled year on year, but quarter on quarter provisions have not risen much. Does it mean that, maybe the market is worried that a lot of this AQR provisioning will come in the 4th quarter, so therefore another huge P&L hit is perhaps in the waiting?
That is a given. See, in any provision coverage ratio has come in at 54.5%. Last quarter it was 56%. So obviously they've spread the provisions a little thinner over more, and it is a given when you analyze banks that if you have a large NPA chunk in one quarter, that quarter will not show the higher provisioning. The higher provisioning will come in subsequent quarters because you provide for 15 or 20% in the first quarter. That's what the law requires in the first year actually. So it's not even next quarter that you will know it next year, because you have to provide up to 40% and then 100%. So that pain is there. That is why the stock market gives you a 0.2 valuation, because the book for many coming years is not going to grow. Retained earnings will not be there. Provisions will eat up that profit. Jagdish, is all the bad news in the price, you think, at 0.2 times book?
Pretty much. I mean, who can say now this is a falling knife situation, global markets, and these markets are absolutely ruthless. So the same old the guys who are completely out of favor, they get bludgeoned the first, whether it's oil and gas, PSU banks, etc. But I mean, honestly, I think especially the top couple of banks, and then what's more is one of them has even got actual leading private sector folks at the end. I mean, let's face it, this is momentous stuff that this that this regime has done, and they're not twiddling their thumbs, I assure you.
Okay, all right, Jagdish, we'll leave it on that note. We have the management of OBC speaking to the press, so let's cut across.
Not recognized. These are two important reasons for the decline. It stood at 766.36. With respect to net profit, as indicated by our MD, net profit of the quarter ended December 2022 at 424.6. Once again to repeat, it is because of the same impact of AQR of the accounts which have been identified as of the cost and yield ratio. Cost of deposit stood at 7.3%. Cost of yield on funds 8.88. Net interest margin for 9 months stood at 2.66%.
Okay, that's the OBC management. We have them on a slightly troubled audio line. We'll try and go back once audio is a little more clear. But of course, they also had their own issues to deal with. And look at that stock. It's still down, and how their gross NPAs had risen to 7.75%, and provisions had also increased quite substantially. We'll try and go back to OBC in just a bit. Jagdish, just to come back to you, as we are speaking, this market is once again threatening to break its morning low or the afternoon low. Whichever low you're talking about. Okay, I don't think we have Jagdish on the line, but just to get back to the market for a bit, 71.13, that's the figure on the screen, 100 gone on the Nifty. Of course, most of the banks have been, look at IndusInd Bank now. Ekta, this is what we're talking of now, whether this is a trade-off or some kind of a switch trade that's playing out. Take a look at what's happened to an IndusInd Bank. It's also sliding. Take a look at what's happened to ICICI Bank. These are the blue chip boys, the blue-eyed boys of the banking street, so to speak. Of course, let's not get everything jumbled up. IndusInd Bank does not have, and correct me if I'm wrong, does not not have the kind of NPA issues that we're talking about with a lot of these larger private sector banks or of course the PSU banks, but there's definitely some kind of a mixed trade that's going on in the banking space. To sum things up for State Bank of India, just to go back to the headline numbers, the P&L numbers that we have on asset quality don't seem to be as bad as what we've seen from some other banks like PNB or ICICI Bank. Just to recap, gross NPAs at
so we have the fresh slippages with us. It's coming at 20,692 crores versus 5,875 crores. But you know, Surbhi, this was in line with the range that we were working with. Anywhere between 15 to around 20,000 crores is what the street was working with, but huge figure. Huge figure.
To digest it immediately, it's a huge headline to digest.
20,692 crores, which compares to 5,875 crores, means that yes, they have recognized a large part of it, but maybe there were a lot of upgrades, write-offs, and maybe sale of loans to asset reconstruction companies, which aided possibly the headline gross NPL figure this time. So the fresh slippages is disconcerting. It is at the higher end of what the street was expecting, but the range was anywhere.
But I want to go back to the ARC sale figure. I think last quarter they sold bad loans worth what, nearly 400 crores to asset reconstruction companies.
So we have to wait by. It could be write-offs, it could be upgrades, it could be anything in terms of sale of loans to asset reconstruction companies. But overall, yes, the slippages at the higher end of the band that the street was working with. It's still a big headline figure of 20,692 crores, and that's why you're seeing the stock now down around 1.4%. Like I mentioned earlier, it is really about the internals for State Bank of India. So we can see the reaction which is coming through.
I think this
Guidance
is
on
unfortunately very bad news. I mean, the GNPA gave one the impression that it is bad, but not terrible. Now much of that joy is taken away, and I think the stock has lost about 3-4%. Let's remember that there were always people willing to, you know, wait for a fresh opportunity to short the market, whether it was SBI or any other stock. So there would be people shorting it anyway.
We're threatening to break 7100. You mentioned short the market. Just want to point that figure as well. The Nifty is at 7104. Lata.
Yeah, because this last bastion of support from SBI is also slipping for the market. And I think yes, 15,000 crore more or whatever, 14,000 crore more of slippages will not be taken kindly, especially when the bank is saying that we have taken 2 quarters. We will take 2 quarters to recognize the entire pain. So you now will have to work in another 15,000 crore in the next quarter as well. That is troublesome. Actually, the GNPAs told you that 16% higher GNPAs is 15% higher fresh slippages. So it is in line with what the GNPAs told you, 16,000 crore more. The slippages told you 16,000 crore more.
7,100 for the Nifty. If you look at it, it's 7,097 currently for the Nifty. So we've slipped below that. We're down 387 points currently for the Sensex. We're down around 116 odd points currently for the Nifty. Last hour of trade, 4% which is gone on SBI, and that's the primary reason you're seeing the Bank Nifty currently down around 283 points. We're down.
I just want to point this out. I hate to be the the doomsday sort of a scenario here, but contrast this performance with what you're expecting from global markets. Futures are down, not as down. In fact, European futures have recovered mildly. Once again, this sell-off seems to be more domestic in nature. Perhaps you can call it a reaction to the earnings that are coming in. Perhaps it's a reaction to that massive 20,000 crore rupee slippage number from SBI that has really knocked the wind out of the sails. That stock's falling. It's taken the entire market down with it. 7094. I think I've got Vaibhav back on the phone line. Vaibhav, we have the slippage number. It's over 20,000 crore rupees. How would you read it? Is the market's disappointment and that sharp reversal on the stock, is that justified?
I mean, I don't think I would attribute the correction in the stock, just to the slippage number. I think based on the gross and net NPA numbers and provisioning numbers, I think the slippages did look to be around this number. Absolutely. And, in terms of quantum to PNB, it's not a very surprisingly, scary number or anything like that. I think we have to wait for more details that may come out in the presentation and in the management commentary. I think the slippage number was nothing very different from the initial numbers.
Yeah, I take your point. The GNPA number said an increase of 16,000 crore and this one is indicating a jump of 15,000 crore. So clearly that should not surprise anyone. The profit taking would have come perhaps anyway. Vaibhav, just once again to repeat, what else will you look out for?
See, I think, the key thing for the market is, clearly this entire thing that we've seen in the PSU results, the cleanup is, obviously what is desired. It will continue till fourth quarter. I mean, once that happens, so, the clarity of, all the pain really going out, how much is left, I think that is what sort of would set the ground for, looking forward. Right now, the market will be fixated on just getting that certainty on the cleanup.
Well, it's not only about State Bank of India now, because State Bank of India has recovered. It's BHEL. That stock is coming out with its numbers today as well. And look at the intraday dip that we've seen on BHEL. That stock is currently down 5.5%. ONGC due to release numbers today as well. And that stock is currently at the lowest point of the day, down around 3.7%. It seems as though there's no conviction across earnings in terms of sectors as opposed to just State Bank of India. Vaibhav, if you just quick last question from me, if in case the guidance is negative in terms of commentary for Q4 and AQR of that nature, or do you expect further downside for State Bank of India?
Yeah, I think in the near term, we would not expect these stocks to really be outperformers. Clearly, in a risk-off trade, these stocks will continue to be avoided. It's, I think clearly another 3 to 6 months of wait before which, I think that sort of platform is set for any possible revival.
Vaibhav, one quick question. There'll be a lot of people who are very worried about their private sector bank holdings. Take a look at the intraday chart of an Axis Bank. In this panic selling that's underway right now, stocks like Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, IndusInd Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank, they're falling like a pack of cards. A lot of retail investors would be very worried because they've heard commentary over the last 1 year saying private sector banks are the place to be. What would you want to tell such investors? What should one be doing if you're holding these private sector banking blue chips, which you're witnessing falling very, very sharply now?
Yeah, I think we would still distinguish between the more retail-oriented ones and the corporate-oriented private banks. I think the corporate ones would also remain under pressure in the near term. They are high beta stocks, and so long as there are global concerns and the market is correcting, we cannot really expect these stocks to outperform in the near term.
Okay. All right, Vaibhav, we're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and talking to us. So the slippages for State Bank of India, higher end of estimate, 20,000 crores, but it's not only about State Bank of India. Take a look at the likes of BHEL, Nifty just about holding 71.